Castaverie Law. We fight for the largest possible settlement in every case, recovering billions for our clients.
What's happening, everybody? Good to see people here today. Just finished my interview with the head coach. Yes, thank you. What are we doing today? What do you think we're doing today? We're trying to find a way to win. The head and all that looks good. Well, I need to move that down. So what do you want to talk about today? What do you guys want to do? Yeah. Everybody's a little wound tight right now. Everybody's wound tight with the Bears coming to town. Chicago Bears. Pete Carroll, I'll wait for the monologue, but you get in here early to get this early. So I just interviewed Pete Carroll, and I just got back to this studio. I was going to stay at the Raiders and do it there, but was willing to come and race here, man. Only city in America you can go from one side of the town to the other in 20 minutes.
Positive energy. The guys that love to compete and with passion are going to have a chance at the place.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Man, I'm loving it, man. They're making my job tremendously easy to be out here with these young, talented players, man. I think we have a really good team. I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT with you. Where is everybody? I'm the type of guy that walks into the club in the bar and says, where is everybody? I'm here. If I'm here, you're here. You ready to roll today? We have 2 live streams on X at JT the Brick, on YouTube at JT the Brick YT, and you can listen live on the Raiders mobile app or LV Sports Network, 920 in Vegas. And look at that. We got a big show because you can listen to it live. You can listen to it on demand. We want more and more people to watch the show. It's important to watch the show. So if you can watch the show, you can do that. You can do it on your phone, your handheld device as you're going to lunch or you're coming back or the next day. Just go on that YouTube channel. Get in the chat with all the bricklayers. I appreciate everybody who's here. They get the mini monologue. They get my thoughts before the show. It's free. You know, some of those cable guys, they say, well, you get that premium package if you sign up and pay me $78 a month. No, this is free for now. This is free for now. I got my young son here working, monetizing this thing as we build out our YouTube channel. All right, couple of quick things. I got a lot to tell you. So let me get going here. We always welcome in Golden Entertainment. They fuel the monologue. PTs, you know, they have 70-plus taverns. 70. Okay, they are the largest gaming route in all of Nevada, more than casinos. They have more slots than casinos, and they have all these great, great taverns that we support here. Sierra Gold, the SG bar right by my house, all the way to Sean Patrick's, Sierra Gold, PT's Gold, wherever you're at. They fuel the monologue 5 to 7, midnight to 2. Say it with me. The best happy hour in town. They've been doing half-price drinks before everybody now was claiming, oh, everybody now has a deal in town. I'll bite my tongue. Everybody now has a deal in town. In Vegas, oh, really? Now you got a deal. You're gonna wipe out a resort fee or two? You get a little free parking? Oh, a little bit of free parking? Oh, really? You're going to lower the price of beer? You're going to do that? Okay. Come on. Let's go. Let's get Vegas going and rolling the way it should be. So cool morning for me today. Cool morning for me today. If you follow on X, got up, went for a swim, had a cup of coffee, prepped the show. And I got the call, Pete Carroll's ready. What do you mean? Pete ready to go a little bit earlier? So I hustled down there, and I got there at 11 o'clock. Pete Carroll, which is about an hour ago, walked into the studio with me. And you haven't heard it yet? I haven't heard it yet. I finished it. We did about 10 or 11 minutes. Yes, I'm sorry, Raider fans. I didn't ask him to quit. I didn't ask him to fire himself. I didn't do that. I'm sorry for you, some of you knuckleheads. But the first question I opened up with was the offensive line. I asked him about it, and we all know before he sits down with me, he has the press conference from the nation's capital where they lost, and he had a full press conference yesterday where he addressed it. But I have to ask the question because we have a new audience. So I basically asked Pete, now that Jackson Powers Johnson's coming back, he agrees he's sticking with the players that he has, the veterans for now, the rookies aren't ready. What can he do to put this team in a better position to win against the Chicago Bears? You'll hear that exclusively coming up tomorrow. You might see it early if the Raiders put it out, but he addressed everything, and he owned it. And he was really disappointed that he didn't win for the Raider fans. So I'm the guy sitting across from him. We asked him about special teams. I asked him about the tackling, the inefficiencies of tackling, because he loves to tackle. He's kind of an engineer and a visionary with tackling. Eric Allen told me this, that Pete Carroll, in the modern history of the NFL, not leather helmets, modern, Pete Carroll has had one of the biggest impacts in NFL history on teaching tackling. And Pete told me, Coach Carroll did, that on the biggest play of their game for the Commanders, his 4 best tacklers missed a tackle. That is very rare. It happens. That's it. Maxx was the last guy. Jeremy Chin blew up the play. And Devin White wrapped and missed a tackle. They don't prepare to miss tackles, everybody. They don't have bad days where they do that. But I asked him, how do you get ready and how do you turn around the tackling when you're not allowed to have contact? Right? And he also pointed out to me, no excuses. No excuses. But that was a rough situation they were in last week. No excuses, but to give Washington 10 days off, 9-10 days off, and the Raiders to play on a short week, I will tell you this, tease ahead, he did tell me he would like to be in that position again so he could do it better. I mean, that's really cool that he said that. He didn't have the players ready at the level that he wanted them to be ready. He didn't see it coming. He thought they had a really good practice last Thursday. They'd be ready to play, and they weren't. And he owned it. And he wants to move on, and he's disappointed for you, the Raider fans, that they're not playing better. So I think it's really easy to get behind this coach. You didn't want to get behind Josh McDaniels. You never gave him a chance. You never gave him a chance before he started. And you were right. It didn't work out, but you never gave him a chance. Some of you gave Antonio Pierce a chance. You bought his sneakers. You bought his jacket. You bought his shirt straight out of Compton. You loved him until you wanted to run him out of town. You didn't like him, but you loved him in the beginning. And I'm hoping that people who listen to me on this platform understand that Pete Carroll is a really big-time coach. And he's lost games before, and he's bounced back. And the thing that he keeps preaching, for those who are paying attention, and you have to get this, this is really important. He's building a new program in his likeness with Tom Brady. They're building something that they've been given by Mark Davis, who's running the whole thing, and said, we're going to do it this way now. There's been too much change. We're aware of that. We know some of you Raider fans have been through hell and back. You haven't won. We get it. He's trying to fix it. He calls it the program. He's trying to fix and put in his new program. So when his program doesn't look good, he's still going to instill his visionary fundamentals on how to make it better. Do we all understand that? Do we all get that? I'll give you an example. If you went to college or high school, the teacher has a lesson plan for the year. The whole year, they're going to start off with this type of history, American history. They're going to give you the Revolutionary War. They're going to give you the Civil War. They're going to move on. They're not going to change because you failed the test. You failed the American history test. They're not going to stop on the World War II test coming up in 2 weeks because you want to go back. It's a program that he's putting in. Is it bumpy? Yes. 6 teams in the AFC, only 6 have a winning record. 6, that's it. And some people think the sky is falling. Rightfully so. The team did not look good. The team did not look like they were coached to the best of their ability. The team did not play well in all facets of the game. Let's go over that again for those who think I'm a homer. Can we clip this? Can we clip this? Okay, here's what they didn't do right. They didn't tackle. They didn't play special teams. They didn't run block. They didn't pass block. What else did I forget? Yeah, anything I forgot? Let's do it again. For those who say I'm a homer. Here we go again. They didn't play special teams at all. Didn't show up. They didn't run block at all. Ashton Genty's getting blown up. Every play is a fire drill. He's getting blown up. They didn't tackle. They give up 200 yards rushing. They didn't pass protect. So everything they did other than Trey Tucker having 3 touchdowns was poor. It was poor to a failing grade. Is that enough for you, or do you want something else? Oh, you want to talk about the coach's son. You want to talk about the GM. You want to make it personal, and we don't do that on the show. You could take that to a podcast. You can take it to a sports bar. You can sit around with 10 Raider fans at a sports bar and want to fire anybody you want. The bartender will listen to you, and he will buy you a round of shots. We're trying to move on to the Bears and win the game. And look, if they don't beat the Bears, they're 1-3, and it looks really tough sledding after that. 1-3 does not look good. 2-2 looks like hallelujah. 2-2 looks great. Oh, my God. Raise your hand and beep your horn right now if you take 2 and 2. Come on, let me see your hands in the air. There we go. We got them all up in the studio. 2 and 2? That could happen. We're right there. Problem is the Bears look really good, and Pete Carroll said that. He looked at me and was like, yeah, they look really good. They're well coached. But Pete Carroll also told me something in our exclusive interview where he went out and said, I'd rather get them early. You know, Caleb Williams is early in his career. So is Ben Johnson. You want him now. Not saying you're going to win. I don't know what the score is going to be, but you want him now. So the Raiders have got to find a way to play a really good game when they've played so badly. How do you go from playing really bad to great? Probably can't do that, right? Are we all on that same page? Can you go from being this bad the last 2 weeks? And 2 weeks ago, the defense against the Chargers did not play poorly. Maxx is playing great. Pete Carroll also talked about Maxx having an historically good season. And Maxx isn't all over, the stat sheet, but he's playing that well. But how do you go from playing really bad to playing great? Let me give you an example. My Yankees do it every night. My Yankees lose every other game 10-1, 10-1, 6-0, 5-0, 5-2. And I'm like, how can the Yankees with Aaron Judge, Stanton, all these players lose and get shut out? Then the next night they win 12-3. Well, that's what the Raiders have to do. And a lot of people don't think they can do that, including the bent noses, the Vegas insiders. A lot of people think the Raiders are going to have to crawl again before they can walk and then stand up and run and then be really good. Because we all wanted the Raiders to be really good by this point, didn't we? I mean, I did. What do you think I did all preseason? I talked about, man, they got a lot of good players on offense. A lot of good players on offense. They got a lot of good players on defense. They're a little bit weak in the secondary. They got a really good kicking game. They got a really good kicker and punter. None of that mattered. I go back to the analogy of grades and homework. The last test that the Raiders took was a D-. The next test they're taking, you want them to have what, an A? No, I want a C and a win. I just want to win. I don't care how they win this game. I don't care how they win this game. I could care less. I don't care if they win it 3-2. I just need a win. So I'm not looking for an A+. I'd like it because I'm a season ticket holder and I pay a lot of money to sit in those seats. And I'd like to see entertainment. I'd like to see bombs. I'd like to see flake flickers. I'd like to see interceptions because I'm paying for that. No, I need a win. I got to host a post-game show with Lincoln Kennedy. I got to go upstairs to the 4th floor and host a post-game. I need a win here in a big way. But what I'm trying to explain to everybody is he is instilling a program. Raider fans don't want to hear that. But these are the same Raider fans who wanted to fire Josh McDaniels and Antonio Pierce. So what do you want, their program? You wanted to fire Josh McDaniels and what, keep the program? No, you wanted a new program. Well, you got that with Antonio Pierce. I thought he was a good motivating coach. He had some attributes that were interesting. They let him go. Most of you wanted him out. What do you expect? You got a new program. And the new program is being overseen by Tom Brady and Pete Carroll from the football side of it and John Spytek. And they have a plan, and they're going to stick to the plan. And it's going to be bumpy, and it's bumpy right now. So that's the focus. The focus today, I told you this was going to take 2 days to clean up. This was an oil spill on aisle 2. When they closed the grocery store down, everybody get out of the grocery store. There's a spill on aisle 2. We got to get everybody out. That's what we're doing. We're cleaning up the toxic oil spill, which was the Commanders' loss, which was a terrible performance. We're going to do that for Tuesday. And then we're going to mix in some guests, and we're going to go down that road here. So that's what we're going to do. Bill Williamson will join us at 12:45. We call him the straight shooter. He's going to come in, and it won't be pretty. Bill's the longest tenured insider in the Raider Nation, as far as I can tell, and he is a straight shooter. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks. Levi Edwards will join us inside the building. He is back there. We're going to be able to talk to him and get his opinion on exactly what is going on there. We have a really big show lined up. I'm excited about that. And then Bill Bender from Sporting News, who covers the NFL and college football. He's going to jump in also and talk to him. So I think we got a pretty good show lined up. My son's here, which is always great. He's helping the bricklayers, trying to keep an eye on the bricklayers. They call me the bricktator in the chat because I'm very focused on being positive. But, for those who don't think I'm positive, I find that okay. For those who think I'm too positive, I'm okay with that too. Because we can't look too far into the future right now. My whole first question to Pete Carroll was, what do we do with the offensive line for this game? I don't care about the Daniel Jones game and the Tennessee game. I care about the Bears game. So here's what I would do. What I would have done is what I've said before. I bench Dylan Parham because I don't think he's playing well. I'd bench him. I don't think he's playing well. I'd replace him. You can replace him by moving people around. It doesn't seem like they're going to do that. And I like Dylan. If I walk by him in the hallway today, I'd say, yeah, I said that. Some guys need to be benched, like starting pitchers need to be pulled in the second inning. That's not a problem. A shortstop who's over his last 22 gets benched for a game, and then you put him back at shortstop. But they're not going to do that. They're going to go with this, assuming Jackson Powers-Johnson plays right guard. DJ Glaze did not have a good game at all. Okay, so when you look at this team, you can see something. There's always a PFF grade that says it might have been worse or better than it is. What I said going into this game, and did you see it? If you went to the game, I did not go. I stayed back here. Anybody call me today, did you see anything aggressive and emotional from the offensive line? I called on that last week. I said I wanted to see the Lincoln Kennedy walk, the Lincoln Kennedy pace. I wanted to see something. I wanted to see someone drive someone into the ground and not taunt. We don't need a flag. But I wanted to see a moment. You know, Dan Quinn, the other coach, had blood coming down his face. Remember? Dan Quinn had blood coming down his face. I want to see a Raider offensive lineman with blood coming down their face like Jim Otto. I want to see something that I haven't seen yet. I want to see emotional football. Am I right to say that? I think John Spytek would agree, and Pete Carroll. Let's see some emotional football where someone on this team is highly emotional. Now, sometimes when you're playing this poorly, that's not good. You don't want to see someone like Malik Neighbors on the sideline of the Giant game, or CeeDee Lamb, or someone just throwing helmets. Did you see, oh, God, did you see last night Derrick Henry fumble? I didn't even get to that game. Derrick Henry fumbled, went to the sideline, smashed his helmet, and tripped falling into the bench. He's a Hall of Famer, great player. He's fumbled 3 times. Do you know we have the same record as the Baltimore Ravens at 1-2? We have the same record as the Kansas City Chiefs at 1-2. But a lot of people think Baltimore and Kansas City are better than the Raiders. I'm one of them. But they're 1-2. What do you think their sports shows sound like today? I don't know. I know what New York sports radio sounds like today with the Giants and the Jets. They're combined 0-6. The Giants announced today that they benched their starting quarterback, Russell Wilson, for Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is not better than Russell Wilson by any means, but the coaches are trying to save their job. So there's a lot of that going on right now when we take a look at this. There's a lot happening here. And after talking to the coach today, I felt pretty good at the end. We had a nice conversation when he got up and left. And I always ended with the fans. And you could tell that the coach, Pete Carroll, is disappointed because he was so happy on his birthday, the turnout that everybody made at the last game. He really appreciates that. He appreciates it in a big way. So hopefully you appreciate this coach because he's your coach and he's a legend. And his past matters. It might not matter to you. Too bad it matters. He's a legend. And he's a guy that can calm everything here and weather the storm and be the face of the franchise. And we should all have his back. And if you don't want to have his back, you can sit this one out. Or you can disagree with what he's doing. Just don't make it personal. Don't talk about his family. How dare you? Don't talk about his family. If you want to talk about his family who are coaches there and you're disappointed, you could do that at a level. But just show a level of respect. That's all I've ever asked you to do. And we've done it together. You know, act like you would if you were walking up to Maxx Crosby or Pete Carroll. 98% of you would take a selfie. You know, then there's the 1% on Twitter that would say, I would tell it. No, you wouldn't say anything. You don't say anything to me. You don't say anything to the coach. You're just saying that on X. Okay, so calm down. Let's try to win this game. So I can move on to the next game. We can move on to the Bears. I got plenty of time to do that. Or we could talk about the big topic of the day. What is really griping at you that you feel like as a caller, because there's no one here yet for me, because they're not intimidated, Jess. They're just waiting for me to finish the monologue. That's what my wife says. They say, you rub people the wrong way, man. You're not I know. It takes a while. I don't give out game show tickets, and I don't give out hats and pretzels. I do sports. I do sports. I don't do movies. I don't do movies. I don't, I do a little bit of entertainment with Johnny Katz. But this is big. So we need to hear from you Raider fans on where's your head at. Most of you want to talk about the offensive line. So I got up this morning and in my backyard, got on a text with Steve Wisniewski, the greatest guard other than Gene Upshaw ever to play for this franchise, and he's going to join us in a couple of days. I said, Wiz, we need you. He said, whatever you need, JT, I'm right there for you. I said, appreciate it, Wiz. We'll slot you in. We'll get you in here and we'll talk to Steve Wisniewski about having that edge and that anger. I think that JPJ has that. A lot of people want to put him back at center. It's not that easy because they prepared Meredith to play center with the protection, and I know it doesn't look good, but that's what they've been practicing and preparing for, and I think most people understand that. You don't have to be a high school or college coach or an assistant coach to understand that they moved Jackson Powers Johnson for some reason, that the personnel department and the coaches thought that Meredith would be better at the center position. That could be corrected. You can go back to JPJ. Yeah, if it was me and it's not me, I'd have Jackson Powers Johnson at center. I'd have Colton Miller at left tackle. I'd have DJ Glaze at right tackle. And then I'd put out the best two at guard. And I'd get the rookies ready to go. I'd have those rookies really ready to go in the next week or two. I'd have them ready if these other guys at guard can't do the job. And that would be Kappa and that would be Dylan Parham. If they can't do the job, I would love to see the rookies play and see what we got. Because we will have another draft next year and we'll know what we have. So that's the monologue as we open up the show. Brought to you by the Fountain Blue. Have you been to the Fountain Blue lately? They have some of the greatest restaurants in the world. They have one of the greatest nightclubs in the world. They have the restaurants are off the charts. The pool is great. But what they have is the Hall of Excellence. And that's the collection of Jim and Fran Gray and Tom Brady. It's on the second floor. They got a great deal for locals. And you just go up there, you get a ticket, and you will walk through there. And you will get the earbud, which is incredible, gorgeous. And you'll walk around and you'll hear the voice of Morgan Freeman, one of the greatest voices ever, like the voice of God. And he'll walk you through every exhibit. It's incredible. We are proud partners of the Fountain Blue. I've been going there since it opened. I love the property. It's gorgeous. It's fantastic. It lights up the Vegas night. And now they have the Hall of Excellence. If you're a sports fan, I really think you need to see it. Ray in Vegas on 920. Start us off, Ray. How are you?
Hey, Jake. How's it going?
Good, man.
I preface this by saying, I hold Pete Carroll. I'm a USC fan, so I hold him in high regard. I just know from this last 2 or 3 years in Seattle, they had problems addressing the offensive line also. So I don't know if that's going to be a current theme, but something has to be done because we don't get killed back here and we don't have a backup with any real experience.
Well,
a problem, but I do trust.
Yeah, I would hope you trust him because he's been in this situation before. He's been a coach his whole adult life. He's had 2-game losing streaks, and you don't want to have a 3-game losing streak. You don't want to lose 5 out of 6. So I'm pretty confident that he could see the issues in the building that they have to correct quickly. What I'm about, Ray, this week is I want to see a short-term fix. A lot of people want to see big picture, long-term stuff. No, I do radio Monday to Friday. I need short-term fixes. That's why I'm counting on you, the callers and the listeners, to give me some short-term fixes here. Do you want to see more of a screen game?
We gotta move the guys on the offensive line to position they're most comfortable playing. That's the only way I could see it them improving. If you got guys that play center their entire life and then you're moving them to guard, and then they're getting beat up playing guard, they're not doing a good job, it's going to affect their confidence. The confidence is the key at this level.
Yeah.
Everybody, even the ones we think aren't good, are good.
I'm not fighting back on you on that. I think Jackson Powers Johnson, who won the Remington Award for the best center in college, is better at center than he is at guard. And he should be motivated as a teammate to go out and play. I think he is. But I think there was some issues why he wasn't picked to be the center. I think the coaches and the player personnel and the coaches who evaluated watched them every day. You and I didn't. We weren't in the meetings and film study. We didn't see everything, and they thought that they had someone who could do a better job. But you're right. If you need to change it to try something different, I'm all for that. Lincoln Kennedy thinks leave this offensive line alone, let them work through it, and coach them better and get more out of them. And it's somewhere in between. Right, Ray? It's somewhere in between. You can't blow it up. You can't trade all the guys and get new guys. You're going to have to find a way for some of these guys to play at a higher level.
Well, the way it stands now, even in the game that we won, because there was problems on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd be different if they were excelling at run blocking and maybe having problems with pass blocking, but they're terrible at both.
Mm-hmm.
So something needs to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 1-2.
Yep, you're right, Ray. Appreciate the call. Thank you for calling in. I have no argument with you. They're playing terribly. The only redeeming factor is them playing better and them being better players that we think some of them can be. That's it. I know I'm making the analogy to other sports, and I'm trying to kind of keep everybody involved here. The other analogy that I'm making is baseball, where they're making errors in the infield. But they're good players. They're just making errors. They're good hitters. They're striking out. You got to get them out of a slump. This offensive line is in a slump. That's Captain Obvious stuff. But the question is, do you believe in the players that we have, the core players, to come out of the slump and play better? It's hard to say that after watching the Commanders game. It's hard when fans who are at home in their homes with their editing devices from home are editing videos of our offensive line blocking the wind and not blocking anybody. That's happening. That's trending. So we got to clean it up. And I hate the term clean it up because these are professionals. This is supposed to be cleaned up before the game. Before the game, this is supposed to be cleaned up. I don't like when coaches, and Pete's not one of them, but some of these coaches, ever hear Mike Vrabel? Well, we got to clean it up. We got to clean it up. We got to clean it up. No, I don't like that. Clean it up. You get paid to do it right. I think Chip Kelly is an incredible play caller. Why? Because he's proven it already. It's non-debatable. Now, has he called great games so far? I don't know. We can't block. So I don't know. He's called plays for Ashton Genty. He can't get back to the line of scrimmage. He's called pass plays and Geno's are getting sacked. I don't know if he's a great play caller in the system yet. He's got to prove it. Everybody's got to prove everything. I got to prove everything every day I get up. I got 3 bosses. I have to prove to them every day. I'm sharp. I'm ready to go. Some days are better than others. But the consistency here, there hasn't been consistency yet because the head coach just told me one-on-one, which I'm telling you, that they're building it. It's not ready to where he wants it to be because they're building the program. He's trying to get it built up, and no one wants to be patient and wants to wait. You know, I'm not going to have 6 people on hold going, hey, JT, great show. You know, I just think Pete needs about another month to figure it out. And they got to figure out what they're going to be doing here. We're not ready yet. So, no, we're not going to get that. We're going to get everybody. You know, my partner, my podcast partner, Tom Looney says, you know, he yells at his microwave. He puts something in his microwave for a minute, and 15 seconds, he's going, hurry up, hurry up. There are people in life that want everything instantly. That's why we have microwaves. Everybody wants something instantly. Here to tell you, everybody, that ain't happening with this offensive line. This thing is not going to be changed instantly. So how do we win the game? When Herm Edwards said you play to win the game, he was never more right. I don't care how they win this game. I'm not expecting them to play crisp and great football because they've played so poorly. It's hard for me to believe that they're going to go snap their fingers, 450 yards, and they're going to win 38-16. I don't see it. So I got to find a way to get us to the fourth quarter in a game at home with a lot of opposing fans from the other team screaming and get us to a 3rd and 5 where the Raiders can win the game if Gino finds Brock on a corner route and we win. That's it. We get to 2-2. Everything decompresses. Everybody. You know what I would do if they win this game? I'm not saying they're going to win, but if they do, Max should just rent one of those buses and take them to his house and just throw the biggest party he's ever thrown. And why? Because they're 2-2? No. Everybody needs to enjoy themselves. They need to win a game and be happy that they won, not be on a 3-game losing streak. because then they don't enjoy themselves at home with their wives and kids, and they're not happy because they're going back to the building losing 3 in a row. This is a very big week. This is a very big week. We got to get this going. 702-365-9200. You know, Grimaldi's is the best pizza I've ever had. I don't take that lightly. They got 4 locations here in the Valley, and I just love their pizza. I get the Brooklyn Bridge. They got the caprese salad. You can go get the Caesar. They got a dessert menu. They have wine. It's incredible. Grimaldi's, home of the $50 gift card. Grimaldi's, proud partner of our show. Bill Williamson, the straight shooter. He's coming. He's coming, and he's ready to go. And Levi Edwards on what he saw with the preparation coming into this game. I'm excited. I love to have this opportunity every day to talk to you. And sometimes it's rough sledding, man. And I don't want to feel like week 11. I want it to feel like week 3 going on week 4. Let's go get a win.
Hey, Eric Allen.
Oh, Gangster Raiders in here, all upset. What do you say? F the BS. F the BS. Pete has the same exact record as Antonio Pierce after 3 games. So what's all the coaching experience? Well, Gangster Raider, you're the guy who said, I think that's Gangster Raider. You're the guy who said we're going to beat the Chargers by 30. Didn't happen, did it? So you weren't right either. We're not right. I haven't been right. So let's figure it out.
Yes.
Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Sit there, 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
And commitment.
How's it looking in there?
$8 for our clients. And we're just getting started.
Oh, take a load off for a minute.
Call 702.
I'm gonna text Mike North. I need Mike North to come on this week. Let me text him, one of my favorite sports talk legends, Mike North in Chicago. There we go. I got a hell of a Rolodex. Service. It's lots of players here. Yes. What do we got in the chat? So parking, sitting in traffic. I'll tell you, it's just a general thing because Pete's a good guy. He's 74 years old. He's a grandfather. If you got a real problem with Pete Carroll after week 3, you got real problems with yourself. If it's week 8 and this thing ain't working, you want to say that or whatever, but give me a break, man. I mean, some of you people aren't happy unless you're ripping on the coach. There's a team that's struggling right now, man. And what you do is you normally rip on the coach. That's what happens. It's playing here. Real Madrid.
The winners win reruns. Sports app. You cash out. Live wagering on all major sports. For information, official see participating sign-up locations. Visit WilliamHill.us. And the promo call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a
Is there a certain point you want to play that
delivering
song?
a refreshing taste.
At a certain time?
No, that's what Remy Martin. When we do Remy Martin. Did you edit that song? Did you hear
I
it?
have an instrumental.
Okay.
So
I think they want the one with the lyrics. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
it's the lyric. So
Yeah.
it would be kind of hard
Yeah.
to talk over.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't be talking over it most of the time.
Leadership. This state. Visit foreign country. Valley.
Raider Nation Drinking Club. That's got to be Thor. We're a home win away from righting the ship. Way to go, Thor.
Well, used to get their famous New York style.
Shock Bowers is upset that the Raiders moved to Vegas. Well, that happened 6 years ago. Get over it. Get over it. I was disappointed they moved here, and I lived here. I lived here the whole time.
I'd love to be your choice. Call text for more information. 700-736-1000.
All right, we'll do this segment and then the next intro we'll get Bill on.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to break about 42, 43, and then we'll get Bill on after that. Okay?
I know. Geneva Financial. You were injured in an accident? Why would you call anyone but the Richard Harris Law Firm? When I started my firm here in Nevada, I took cases of all sizes, and today we still do. It's about getting results for our clients. We fight for the largest possible settlement in every case. And with all that fighting, we've become Nevada's largest personal injury law firm, recovering billions for our clients. Who you hire matters. Why would you call anyone else?
All right, we're gonna come back with Gino to Myers.
Yep.
Honey.com. Would you like to become an educated sports fan? Also knows how to place a bet? How about a library of how games are played, how to make bets, and hot picks of the day? Join me at betmoneyhoney.com. Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show.
Brought to you by The Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
Fast injection, the long setback. Two receivers. It's a play fake on first down. Gino floating downfield. Myers wide open at the 40. Far sideline 30. Myers scrambling with a frother. And he's out of bounds at the 15-yard line. 45-yard Gino to Jacobe on the first play from scrimmage. Oh, man.
That was the first play of the game for the Raiders. That Jacobe Meyers 45-yarder. And a lot of people are saying, why didn't we see more of that? I don't know. I think that they drew up a lot of plays. You'll hear my interview with Pete Carroll coming up in the next day or two. It'll be on Raiders.com before that. They get the first opportunity to air that. We have it here with our new sponsor for the Coaches Show, the Castaverie Law Group, Alex and Orlando de Castaverie. If you get into an accident or injured, God forbid you're injured, Brothers Win. Brotherswin.com. Let them take over the legacy of their law group based on their father, and what they've been able to build in town is tremendous. The Castaverie Law Group. So I asked Coach Carroll today what we're seeing over the middle of the field with Jacobe and Trey. That's something really positive to build on. There is something, and then he brought up Brock. I was going to get to Brock, but he said it for me. He said, yeah, and Brock too. So the Raiders' mid-passing game, which I think is anywhere from 10 to 25 yards, I think is the strength of the team. Because I don't think they have enough time to get off these deep, deep bombs, because Gino's been running for his life. As I looked at the film of the game in preparation for my interview with Coach, I counted at least 2 to 3 times where Gino could have stepped up in the pocket and ran, or had a clean pocket and he didn't. That's on Gino. The offensive line isn't very good. We get it. But there were a couple of plays where Gino, I think, could have stepped up and made a play. He didn't do that. And Gino owned it. And I think he'll be ready to go in this one. Bruce in Vegas, you're up next on the flagship. Hello, Bruce.
Hey, JP, talked to you back just before the beginning of the season. This is the first chance I've had to get back in.
Mm-hmm.
And a few observations. First of all, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I didn't really think the offensive line would be this bad. But the good news is it can't be any worse. So we just have to trust in Pete and the coaching staff that they'll coach these guys up and they'll get it together. So I'm not as alarmed by that as I am a few other things. And the point you just made about Gino, I think one of the reasons that he didn't make those step up or runs is he doesn't have total confidence in that line yet. Yeah. He's second guessing them.
Well, you're right about that, but he worked with them all off season, and there's been plenty of times he's played football in his career on really bad teams where he was a backup before he got to Seattle, where he was ready to run. He was just able to tuck and run. I'd like to see Gino run more. The problem with that, Bruce, is, if he runs and takes a big hit, he could be gone for the year, and Pete doesn't want to see him run.
I understand all that. But the more other things that I noticed, first of all, the kindergarten kids, that's what I nicknamed the defensive backfield, because they're so young and inexperienced. And quite frankly, they're doing a very good job.
Yeah.
I haven't seen in any of the 3 games, I mean, there's been some mistakes, but the mistakes are all coachable and teachable. They all look like they're intelligent and athletic enough to make the adjustments. So I haven't seen a single player, a single member of the cardiac kids that I say, wait a minute, that guy doesn't belong on the field. We got to get rid of him and get somebody else in here. They do belong, and I think that's a good sign. But the 2 things that upset me the most during this past game was, one, the special team breakdowns on those kickoffs and punt returns.
Yes.
I don't remember the last time I've seen our special teams break down like that. I hope this is just an outlier, because if it isn't, we're in big trouble. And then the second thing is, for some reason, as good as overall as our defense has played, for some reason this past game, when it came to the run defense, they just left their intestinal fortitude in the locker room. There was no run defense.
Yeah, I'm surprised. The run defense was there. I thought it was more of the missed tackling, because I think there's two things I saw. Tell me if you saw this also. I think they got to the hole and they bounced off the hole. Their tackling was so poor that it exposed the next phase with the guys behind them having to make tackles. And yeah, but I can also tell you, looking at the film, Maxx was a legend in that game, and he didn't show up.
No, he played great.
He played great.
So but you're right. You're right about the tackle, and I forget who it was, but the one play where the Washington back, he made it through the line, but as soon as he made it through the line, he was confronted by one of our linemen who had his arms around him, and the guy just took 2 steps, bounced off of him. And then the linebacker missed the next tackle, and I think he ran for, 15, 20 yards.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. I appreciate the call. You are right. There's no way to get around it. Okay, we're not spinning. We're not trying to avoid the topic. They had a really bad tackling game. And Devin White, remember that first game against New England? Devin White had 11 tackles, 8 solo. And the caller also made up another point about the young secondary. I'm not a believer in playing young guys if they're going to get beat once a game for a touchdown. I'm not into that. Okay? So if you're going to play the young guys and they're going to play, I want to see good games. And I thought they played really well against New England. The Chargers, Justin Herbert beat them on a long touchdown. It was a broken coverage by the Raiders. And then the Raiders had a broken coverage touchdown against the Commanders. So in 2 out of the 3 games, our young corners are getting beat for touchdowns. That's not acceptable. I told you to get ready for it, but it's not acceptable. You can't have young players getting beat on stop and goes. And you know it's going to happen. So all you can do is say it's not acceptable. But it's happening, and you're going to have to turn it around. Fabian says special teams needs more tackling. And I just lost it. We have so many people in the chat. I can't even see it. Special teams needs more practice tackling. I asked that to Pete. Here's the problem, Fabian. They don't tackle in the NFL during the week, okay? They don't put on pads during the week, and special teams don't tackle to begin with because you put them in a phone booth and you change this enhanced kicking thing where they don't really tackle much in the games. They don't tackle. So good luck with that. John Gruden, I never met anyone more frustrated in my life about the fact that these guys can't practice during the week in pads than John Gruden. And I think Pete Carroll would love to drop them in pads more, but the good news for the Raiders is they're healthy. They're really healthy with the players that they have, and they got to keep it that way. Bill Williamson, Silver and Black Pride. He's really good. He'll have a lot to say. You don't want to miss this. You got one of them? Yeah. I'm going to go drink or something. You got water? I'll be right back, everybody. There's Bill. Perfect. Be right there. This would be cool is when you put up. Yeah. I'll step away. I want to have such a side. I'll be right back.
Radio 920 AM. Hey, Derek, we're going to have a guest or commercial manager. You hold? All right,
Nevada Mobile Sports app allows you to bet on the go from any iPhone, iPad, or Android device from anywhere in Nevada. Sign up today and you will never miss another bet. With the largest wagering menu, the mobile sports app features same-game parlays, early cash out, and live hit-play wagering on all major sports. For more information, official rules, and to see participating sign-up locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you're injured in an accident, here are the things that matter. Who you hire to represent you matters. Where they live may seem like it doesn't matter. It matters. The Richard Harris Law Firm employs over 150 local people. We live right here. We know Nevada. We know sports. We know how to win. If you're injured in an accident, who you hire to represent you matters. The Richard Harris Law Firm. 444-4444.
Raider Nation, it's JT. I partnered with Charles Woodson and his Woodson Whiskey. It's the official bourbon whiskey, the Black Hole, and the Las Vegas Raiders. If it wasn't your game day whiskey, it is now. Raise a bottle at your next tailgate and toast to the silver and black. The limited edition Black Hole bottles now available at WoodsonWhiskey.com. Use the promo code JTTheBrick at checkout for 15% off. That's WoodsonWhiskey.com, the official whiskey of Raider Nation. Please celebrate responsibly.
Joe Seafood, prime steak and stolen crab. The legendary seafood restaurant in Miami Beach is right on the strip to bring you a true dining destination. Serving USDA prime steaks, quality seafood, and world-famous Florida stone crab claws defined by a standard of hospitality. For over
Needed to hydrate there for a minute. The Fluffer's here. The Fluffer's back. Where you been? They've probably been here.
private, semi-private dining for both intimate and large party gatherings. If you're considering a luxury SUV family, you need to look.
JT's such a bad MOFer. You hear him and he ain't even there. What does that mean? I'm right here.
It's easy. 59 for 36 months with only $39.95 down.
Oh, we're selling Volvos now, huh? I like it. Thanks for everybody who's here today. We're building a nice little group here. All right, Jess, you can get him up.
Since 1990. Yes, that 35 years. So if you're looking at selling or buying a home, I'd love to be your choice.
Major League Baseball is instituting the ball strike challenge, a new rule. How about that? The challenge. We challenge everything now.
Step 36, 3000. License A143-790. Geneva Financial 393995.
Big news, Las Vegas. Les Olson IT has moved to a bigger, better facility to serve you like never before. Our new space means more technology, more service, and more solutions. All designed.
All right, we'll come back with a Gentine 16-yard.
Growth with a company that values innovation and community. Join our team today. Proudly serving Las Vegas for 23 years and counting. Les Olson IT, your business better. Les Olson IT.
At Boomer Sportsbook wants you to know two numbers, 250 and minus 105. Sign up for your Boomer's mobile account and we will match your deposit up to $250 in bonus bets. Plus, we are offering minus 105 on all pro football spreads for every regular season game. Download the Boomer Sportsbook app. Then go to Ellis Island Casino in Vegas or Casino Valley Verde in Henderson to activate your account. This is where Nevada plays to win. Learn more at betwithboomer.com. Must be 21. Terms and conditions apply. Bet responsibly.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the Castaverie Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
Gino hands it off to Jetty. Following blocker. Big hole across the 40. Lowers the shoulder. And that is his best run of the day. They will mark him down at the 38-yard line. He bulldozed for 15 yards right through the middle of the field.
It's kind of nice when he can do that. He hasn't been able to do it much. Bill Williamson joins us. Silver and Black Pride. I call him the straight shooter because he tells you the truth all the time. And Bill, I know your analysis already of this last game, but for our audience, tell us your overall grade, how poorly the Raiders played losing to the Commanders.
Oh, well, I mean, AJ, thanks for having me. I mean, we're talking grade, it has to be an F, right? I mean, I don't think that's shocking. This is a real opportunity blown. And, and I tweeted, I think it was Saturday after the Jaden Daniels news was officially when they played. The Raiders are a serious team. They got to win this game. And the Commanders were pretty banged up other than the quarterback, and they got hurt during the game significantly as well. This is, a winnable game. Again, they probably should have won, and they just got blown out. And, for those of us that have been around the Raiders for a while, there's always been a kind of remember stinker games each year. The Carolina game last year, the New Orleans 24-0 game a few years ago. Those type of games. This just had a feel of a team that was overmatched. And, that's that's what's concerning, I think.
I think it is concerning because Pete Carroll's not supposed to allow that to happen. He took tremendous ownership on it. That whole thing with the 10 days off, 9 days off, him on a short week mattered. And I interviewed him today and he picked up on it again, not to make an excuse, but he said he would love that opportunity again to do it differently. And
the quarterback being out, so that takes away that advantage, I think. The Commanders did have a rest advantage, certainly, but they're playing without their quarterback. They're playing a quarterback that hasn't started in 3 years, so that's a lot.
Yep, Bill Williamson. So the O-line, it seems like he's going to go, actually, with the veterans that he has. He doesn't want to make a personnel change. I don't know if I agree with that or not. What's your philosophy of the guys on the roster, knowing Jackson Powers-Johnson's coming back to play right guard, and what he can do to fix it, as I asked him for this week? I'm not talking 6 weeks now. This week is an emergency that this offensive line's got to be better. Do you think we can see something dramatic on how they get them ready?
I don't know. I mean, there's no real magic pills. The season's going. It's not May anymore. It's week 4. I think Pete Carroll was correct the way he said we have what we have. He said that direct quote yesterday, and it's up to us to coach them better. And what they got to do. I mean, I'm not suggesting they should or they going to make major coaching changes yet in week 4 of a new era. But, Joe Philbin got a little bit more involved there in the middle of the season last year after they made some changes. And, he's still on the staff. Maybe he helps some more. But they're just going to have to scheme these guys up, coach them up, and hope for best. And JPJ is a huge part of this because so much was expected from him. I mean, everybody thought that he was going to take a leap to really, almost a Pro Bowl caliber player this year. And it's just been a weird deal ever since training camp started. And I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if the coaching staff doesn't trust him. He's not a fit for them. I don't know. But he's a guy that they picked used a second-round pick on. And there's a lot of expectations on him. And they got to get that figured out.
I would agree. Bill Williamson's our guest, Silver and Black Pride. So let's move on to the Bears. It seems like they had their moment. Whenever you beat the Cowboys, it gives you extra juice. They're still America's team, and they still have a massive following. And not only did they beat the Cowboys, they dominated them. They beat Dak Prescott, who's a good player. CeeDee Lamb got banged up in the game, but everybody got targeted in touches. They had a flea flicker touchdown. They got Roma Dunze, who played here at Bishop Gorman, high draft pick. DJ Moore, a really good player. I think the Raiders have their hands full if they don't get to Caleb Williams because he can make plays outside the pocket. I almost want to keep him in the pocket and hope that the Raiders can contain him. How do you see it?
Yeah, I was surprised the Raiders are the favorites in the game. Yeah, it's a slight favorite, but still. The Bears have had a kind of a weird tenure with Ben Johnson. Again, a new coach. Blew the game against Minnesota in week 1. Played pretty good, but blew the game. Got blown out in Detroit, and the vibes are kind of weird. He's being kind of nippy in media sections.
Yes.
And that's kind of sometimes a sign of a guy not in control. And then they go out at home and blow out the Cowboys. And his offense, which is the reason why he was hired, was clicking. The kid threw for 4 touchdowns, and his receiver group looks really good. Ruther Burden, second-round pick this year. I mean, they're 3 different receivers. They got tight end. Yeah, I think it's a tough challenge to the Raiders because the Bears are going to be coming to town very confident and feeling good about themselves, and they're going to be eager to see, hey, we put up 31 against these guys. And, the Raiders defense showed some things on film this last week and against the Chargers that, you might be able to take advantage of some things of the passing game. So that's going to be the Raiders' challenge defensively.
Bill Williamson. Bill, last one. What's at stake here? You're very good at looking ahead, seeing problems, how they could be rectified or not. What's at stake in this game, considering the upcoming schedule and the Raiders having the opportunity to play at home?
The opportunity is that you could very much be okay. The next 3 games are the Bears, the Colts, but there's still, we all think that Cinderella's going to pop at some point, maybe at 3-5. And then you got the Titans at home before Kansas City. So that's 3 very winnable games. You got to win 2, you know. If you do, now you look at the AFC picture. There's 10 teams in that conference that have losing records, right? 10. And, you know, Cincinnati is one of the teams with winning record, and they don't have a quarterback. So there's a chance that, you know, 1 or 2 playoff teams from that conference may be, you know, 8, 9 win teams. So go win and then see what happens. It's not over. The problem is the Raiders look like a team that last year they don't compete. And that's what they got to prove. That's what they got to prove to themselves.
Absolutely. Take care, Bill. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Always appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah.
There he is, Bill Williamson. Check out what he does at Silver and Black Pride. Brought to you by Virgin Hotels. Frank Marino's Divas. It's back September 19th, 20th, and the 21st. Shows at the 24 Oxford are fantastic. One of my favorite venues in town. One of my favorite all-time venues is the theater, where I'm going to see America. The America Songbook is coming to Virgin Hotels. Go to virginhotelslv.com and check out all the events that they have in the theater, because America is amazing. It's their encore tour of 2025. I'll be going. I'm excited about that. And then all the other concerts that they have there. All you got to do is go to virginhotelslv.com and please book a room there, because the rooms are fabulous. They have great rooms in the Ruby Tower. I've stayed at every room in that place. I've stayed in the penthouse. I've stayed in the suites. I met my wife on that property when it was the Hard Rock. I know that place inside and out. The restaurants are amazing. One Steak with J.O.D., Michael Morton and Jenna Morton's. Fabulous restaurant. What a great steakhouse. What a great staff. And Live on the Lawn, Common Kings, Pop 2000, Hawaii's Finest Music Festival. It's all right there at Virgin Hotels, Las Vegas. We thank Cliff Atkinson for their proud partnership.
Start your
All right, I got time for the chat. We're going to get Levi Edwards in here.
Was an official surface of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especiales, rich, full-flavored Pilsner.
Hey, Derek, for holding, we have one more bill.
No, have them hold. I'll take them. Have them hold, Jess. I'll take them first.
Kate? All right.
Stand here. Bring your friends. I'll always bet on black. Isn't there 10 casinos across the valley?
Good. How's everyone doing? Let's focus on the chat. The 642 people here. Fabian, yes, I agree. I don't need to look it up. I have lived it. Everybody, 20 years. You know, it's been tough 20 years for the Jets and the Giants and the Cowboys and the Browns. A lot of teams have had it rough. We've had it rough.
Terrible. We did great. Terrible plays. Or 0-1.
Okay. What's going on with you? Any of those emails come back? Did they go out on auto? Which ones went back? Did he? What he said? Yeah, that's good. That's important. Anything more than that? Yeah.
10 days. Multiply that by 10.
Oh, yeah. 1 second. Patty. Hey, Patty. We just did a really good long virgin live read, and Jess will get it to him in a day. So, not really good. So, sit that on, brother. Thank you. Yep. Live reads are a big part of this business. Live reads. Okay.
Print it out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Transfer.
Levi Edwards at 110. So let me get going. We'll take a call if we got him. Who's the caller, Jess?
Derek.
Derek in New Jersey. I got callers from New Jersey, none from Vegas, man, huh?
Since 2014, Law has proudly called Las Vegas and the surrounding area years has financially supported.
Yes, this is new Raider gear I got today. One of the perks is grabbing Raider shirts and getting the super duper Raider discount. Real nice discount.
It's not about the injury, it's about the recovery.
All right, back in 30.
Rollout.com. We are
Yep.
go on football betting. The best way to do it is to sign up today for new
There's some news. I'm going to reset this. Let's get some news.
bonus bet after placing your first qualifying wager with the William Hill Nevada mobile sports app. You'll never miss another bet. William Hill has the largest wagering menu, and the app features same-game parlays, early cash out, and live in-play wagering on all major sports. For more information, official rules, and to see participating sign-up locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your afternoon Raiders fix with your boy Q on Unnecessary Roughness from 2 to 5 on Raider Nation Radio 9.8 AM KRL Las Vegas.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
It's the JT the Brick Show.
It's just we're bunch. And I don't care how hears that. I mean, it's not me. He's legendary. His track record speaks for itself. He competes every single day, and that's what I love about him.
Your silver and black just sound off for over 25 years.
Somebody will play harder than the guy lining up across the team lining up across from me. And if you're not, I want to be in space. That's where the Raiders look at it. But I expect excellence every day.
And here's JT the Brick.
Yes, hour number 2 brought to you by Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. Are you a Caniac? You know, the Rebels are undefeated. They're a proud partner of the Rebels. It's tailgate time. Get ready for UNLV game day when they come back. Let Canes handle the tailgate. Order online at raisingcanes.com or go to the Canes app and roll in with hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and that iconic cane sauce they make in each store every day. Jugs of lemonade and tea to keep the crew refreshed. Do this for Raider games too. Do it for UNLV football games. They are the official chicken fingers of UNLV. Go Rebels. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. So Jess is with me. My son's with me. We got the chat rocking. We are live. If you want to watch us, you can see us here. We're showing off the new Raider gear I got today with the Raider discount. Still costs money. Not everything's free. A lot of stuff I get is free. It's called Compland. I like to go to events from time to time. Back in the old days, Jess, when I moved here, everything was comped. You go in, hey, I'll dinner. JT, come on in. Your wife? Dinner's on me, but you got to tip. A lot of people need to understand whatever the cost of the meal is, you got to tip on that, even though it's Compland. Comps are going away, but it seems like Vegas is waking up and making some deals come back. We have a large group of hotel casino partners on this show, including Boyd Gaming, M Resort, Virgin Hotels, the Fountain Blue. Man, we got great partners here. Go support all of them and go out and have some fun. We got the Bears coming into town. They travel well. My wife's from that region of the country. She's Raider Nation. She grew up a Bears fan, diehard, but she married in to Raider Nation. She dresses up for the games, Raider jackets, Raider sneakers. She loves the Raiders. She loves sitting in her seats and watching winning football. Can we win this game, please? Can we get a win? Can we go to 2-2? Now, I don't want to be the 2-2 guy. I've never that. I started the year, I started with the Raiders. 2 years later, we were in back-to-back AFC championship games, went to the Super Bowl. We never talked about 2-2. I've seen some good teams, the Derek Carr 12-4 team. I saw the Rich Bisaccia playoff team. We didn't talk 2-2. I need 2-2. I'm not apologizing. We need 2-2. Let's get there. How are you going to win the game? We'll institute the game plan tomorrow. I interviewed Pete Carroll earlier today, and we had a real conversation. And it wasn't, we're not butting heads. It's the hometown interview. Sorry. It's not the interview from the Bears guy. It's from the Raider guy. And he was very honest about the problems with this O-line. They got to figure it out. They're going to stick with these guys and try to get them going. Look for the return of Jackson Powers Johnson at right guard, and hopefully that helps. Because if that doesn't help and that doesn't get everybody going, I don't know what will. Again, I'm looking for some inspirational moment in this game. That's something I'd really like to talk about the rest of the week. I'd like an inspirational moment other than Maxx Crosby. Can I please get it from someone? Can I have someone like Tyree Wilson inspire me? How long we've been waiting for a Tyree Wilson game? Seriously, how long? Chandler Jones gave us some Chandler Jones games. Remember him? Where's the Tyree Wilson game that's inspiring? Where's the Malcolm Kuntz game? That's, whoa, oh my God, you see Malcolm Kuntz? Where is that game? We need it against the Bears. You know, Jonah Lalulu, we need a game out of him. He's a good player. He's a good player. How about a game out of Devin White? How about Pratt with the pick six, not dropping one? Let's get a good game out of someone other than Maxx Crosby. Can we do that? And Gino, we asked for a bounce-back game. We didn't get it. So now Gino's had 2 games in a row. And this last game, his stats didn't look bad, but we know he was stacked 5 times. Derek in New Jersey. Start us off, Derek. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for taking the call. You were looking for short-term fixes. Question. Why does Tip not go empty backfield, spread everybody out, option 1? Or number 2, roll Gino out. Why are we letting him sit back there like a dead duck? He's mobile. Why not design plays to roll him out? Why not design plays to go empty set and play West Coast offense? Why can't he play the Oregon offense that got played against us?
Yeah, wouldn't it be great? And don't hang up, because I agree with what you said. Wouldn't it be great to go 4 wide with Dante Thornton far left, Trey Tucker far right, Brock Bowers in one slot, and Jacobe Meyers in the other? Wouldn't that be perfect?
Yes. Now, the other issue is I think that people are not respecting Bowers because he's hurt. I think that's a big thing here.
Sure. There's nothing wrong with that. He's not the same Brock Bowers when he's at 70, 80%. I don't know if he's coming back to 100%. I have no idea, but you nailed it. They're not double teaming him and worried about him the way they should because he's not 100%. Hopefully he's getting there.
Right. And I don't know why don't they design rollouts too? I mean, I think everything is kind of a drop back and let's tuck it down the field. And my other issue with Gino is I think he's got a little bit too much gunslinger. And Pete mentioned it after the first game.
Yeah, he did.
I think he trusts his arm too much, maybe a little overconfidence in his arm. And even though he had some balls that were not intercepted, boy, there were throws he shouldn't have made. That's kind of my 2 cents.
All right, that's a good call, Derek. Thank you. Let's get you to call more again from Jersey. That guy sounded like he was like an offensive coordinator's assistant or something. Yeah, I like to go empty backfield. I mean, the offensive line isn't blocking. Did we really draft Ashton Genty to block, to line up behind a guard and block? I don't think so. But it's been all hands on deck. It's been all hands on deck because the team is very much struggling. Every way you look at this team, they're struggling. And I don't like games where they're not entertaining and they're struggling and they're not playing well. The Charger game wasn't as bad as you thought on defense, but the offense played poorly. Gino threw 3 interceptions in the game. Gino threw 3 touchdowns to Trey Tucker, which is positive, but he got sacked 5 times. I'd like to see Gino run more, but it's very dangerous. He's a big guy. He's a big guy, Gino. And if you put him out in the field and he's running, there's going to be someone coming out after him like a missile, and they're going to look to take him out of the game. So I'd like to see him run a little bit more. Do you know last night Lamar Jackson was sacked 7 times? 7 times. He throws the ball away less than 1 time a game. I think the percentage was 0.67. That's impossible. Like Lamar Jackson and Caleb Williams are very similar. We're going to play Caleb Williams coming up here. And Caleb Williams is a really good player outside the pocket. How do I know that? He won the Heisman Trophy. That counts. That counts. He won the Heisman Trophy. What do you want to forget that? I'm not forgetting that. That was a major award. The top college quarterback. That was recently. You know how many plays he made at Oklahoma and at USC outside the pocket when the play was dead and he threw it 60 yards in the air? 60 yards in the air? Mike in Staten, Italy. Mikey, thanks for waiting. Appreciate you calling the show. What's happening?
Hey, I mean, we had the quarterback whisperer coach included, and Gruden told you something in the middle of the year last year. He talked about Carson Wentz really having a breakthrough with him when he didn't have a job, when he was in his camp. Again, he looks spectacular. I know it's only one game. He went against a pretty good defense. Baker Mayfield, in his prime, a 1-1. You were calling it out. You were the only one calling it out. The schemes, it's not about the schemes on this team. It's just the offensive line. Listen, coming from New York, offensive line on the Jets and Giants are said you could just walk through it. But we have to get that quarterback to give them just a little bit of time. They have the weapons. They have the 5 o'clock, and we have to beat Chicago. I don't care if we win by a point or if we win by 30. It's a must-win this weekend, Jake.
Hey, Mikey, you remember that, I liked both of the former GMs that were fired. They were good men. If one of them listened to me and we would have hired Baker Mayfield, the $30 million total, they would have had a statue for me at Allegiant Stadium. You'd have to go buy the JT the Brick statue because JT the Brick, they would have said, oh, my God, JT said go get Baker Mayfield. He's only $30 million. No one listened to me. What was going on?
And JT also went. Look at him. You were calling for him last year.
Yeah, Wentz is the type of guy, and thanks for the call, Mikey. Looking forward to seeing you in Vegas. Wentz is just a big athlete. He's just a big mountain man, big deer hunter, guy who's just strong, can throw defensive line. He was a hell of a player. When they won the Super Bowl that year, he would have been the MVP of the league. He got hurt. Nick Foles ended up winning the Super Bowl for the Eagles. Remember when that happened? He was that was Carson Wentz's team. So I'm looking at the quarterback. Kenny Pickett can probably play. We don't want to see Kenny play in case you got to break the glass and Gino gets hurt. We don't want to see that. And we want Gino to play well. Gino had one of the best podium sessions I ever saw in Washington when he lost. He came out there and just looked everybody in the eye and said, this is on me. I got to get better. No moral victories. Trey Tucker, what about the touchdowns? No, we lost. Gino was absolutely outstanding. And, that's really important. You want your quarterback to be great and humble in a victory. And then you want your quarterback, when he loses, to be outstanding at the podium in preparation. The best I've ever seen, and I've seen a number of them, was Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon was the guy who came into the building after a loss, right after the plane landed. I think the plane would land, Rich would go home, see his wife and kids, and get back in the car in the pitch black and be in the building to be working with John Gruden in Oakland. I saw it because I was leaving the building to get a cab. I tell the story all the time at 5:30 in the morning, and Rich is coming in after we landed at 1:32 in the morning. I'm like, what is this? Oh, it's Rich Gannon. That's what Maxx does. Do you remember the entire offseason also that Jackson Powers Johnson was working out with Maxx? And he was getting into the building very early. So when I look at this, and Levi Edwards is going to join us here in a second, when I look at this team, a lot of it has to do with work ethic and buy-in. There was a reason why they competed all offseason. They shot free throws. They had contests and all that to build camaraderie. Well, now they have to lean on that because there's a lot of noise. A lot of people ripping the Raiders nationally. You see the love fest with some of these national hosts? The Broncos have the same record. You'd think the Broncos were undefeated. Every day I turn on TV and radio. Broncos, Broncos, Broncos. Look at the Broncos. Look at the Broncos. And, the Broncos have the same record as the Raiders. So does Kansas City. But the issue is the Raiders played so poorly their last 2 games that the NFL analysts around the league are now back to not paying attention to the Raiders. They're waiting for the Raiders to play good again. I don't know when they're going to play well again. I don't have a lot of confidence that they're going to play great other than defense with Maxx. Nothing leads me to believe that they're going to have a great game coming up here, but I'm comfortable that thinks that they're going to win. Mike in New Jersey, as we get him up here. Mike, thanks for waiting. Go ahead.
Hey JT, what's going on?
What's up, Mike?
I can't stand the Broncos either. 2 things. Number one, I heard you yesterday, what happened, everything with the offensive line. Gino is not a statue. He can move his legs. I mean, why don't we do some rollouts and, get him moving? If he knows he's going to get killed in the line, can we do some rollouts?
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, I would agree with you. They're not rolling him out. I think they want to protect him inside the pocket. They have a plan, and it's not working. Yeah, I agree. What are you going to do if you don't roll him out? What are you going to do if you don't roll him out of the pocket and move the pocket? You're going to let him continue to get sacked 5 times? You got to move him. I agree with you. Move the pocket. I tweeted it during the game. Move the pocket in capital letters. Move the pocket.
He's going to get killed. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's just frustrating. And then with the line and everything like that, I want to see the adjustments they're going to make. I mean, everyone's going nuts about the Raiders being bad on the offensive line. Okay, like them putting it with the Giants offensive line. But you've got to. I have confidence that this coach will make the right adjustments, and I hope if Chip Kelly is running the offense, and Pete doesn't like something, he'll tell Chip, listen, you're not going to do that.
100% he will, no doubt. Appreciate the call. Thank you. A good job. That's what he's going to do. He's the head coach. It's his team. He's going to tell Chip Kelly, who's specializing in the offense, to switch it up if he has to. Perfect time from Levi Edwards from our digital team. So, I mean, how many tweets and how many comments have you answered on the offensive line and what you've seen so far and your analysis on what needs to happen for this team to be better against the Bears?
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy right now. Something about like having the game of lifetime, and then in the comments there'll still be people talking about how bad the offensive line played against the Commanders, which really frustrating because he really did have a hell of a game. And B, I can understand the frustration because when I look at these changes on the offensive line, I think a lot of people are just talking about, oh, well, we need to make some changes and like player personnel and around on the line. And honestly, and I mean, he was playing with versatility. When I told what I told him, it's not look the game, not only versus one, he took the line, he didn't trenches. One else, hurt, I'm out. He's a top one. These are this is high school. Like, hey, you need to do this better. These are just small things. Like,
yeah, I didn't see it either, and they played poorly in all phases of the game. So let's go through that before we move on to Chicago. Special teams, I talked to Coach today. There's not much more you can do other than walkthroughs and kicking the ball to a certain area and hope it sprays another way and get everybody there in a phone booth to tackle. You kick it to Deebo Samuel. He's one of the most dangerous players in this league the last 5 years. But they weren't tackling well, not only on the field with the starters on defense. The special teams were flying by the runners and the ball, and it seemed disciplined in where they should have been. How'd you see it?
I think make a play happen. So kind of like that's what's so frustrating about this long range is when you look at games, especially on special teams like that, is you can't really necessarily blame it on schematic. You can't blame it on, oh, well, if I would have called this differently or called that differently, then it'd be a different result. When it comes down to it, the Raiders were just undisciplined, and they did play with enough physicality. You saw that especially with their special teams, with just kind of not being able to beat off block, run down the field, but then all these gaps are being open. And credit to the Commanders because Lane did an amazing job with his return. Deebo has been one of the best receivers in the league for a long time now. Really one of the most versatile guys that you'll see in the league. So credit to them as well. But I just believe that the Raiders didn't play with enough effort and physicality.
Hey,
Yeah,
Levi Edwards is our guest. Follow him, and we got him on the split screen here on the YouTube, and we're excited to talk to him about the offensive line. So you are the guy that I go to all year when I'm calling the games. You give me a few minutes where I ask you, what did I miss this week? What'd you see? And with the offensive line, I recall you and I having conversations about this, that This is what they're going with. I'm a big believer through all the different GMs, including this one, go get a right tackle who's been a Pro Bowler, guy who's been around the block. But they did that with Kappa, who was a former Pro Bowler, and they wanted him on the interior. That doesn't seem to be working out, Alex Kappa, the way I expected it to. Now he looks to be a serviceable guy who will jump in and potentially play if someone gets nicked or goes down. Am I reading that wrong? Could he be called on to have a bigger impact at maybe left guard with Jackson Powers Johnson at right guard?
Could be possible. At Tampa Bay with Cincinnati. I personally do believe how right now for Noah Parham and for DJ Glade, I do think those two guys have shown promise. Maybe not necessarily throughout the 3 games, but like throughout their career so far in the NFL. I think Parham last year was one of the better offensive linemen on the team. So to see him regress in this way is very odd to me. And I'm still trying to put a finger on why these things are happening with penalties, like, holding penalties, or just getting beat, not really being able to break holes for JP. Like, there's some issues that I just can't put my finger on as to why they're happening. But I will say this, JP, I really do think the Raiders got it right with who they had at first 5 with their starting offensive line, with Meredith with better and 2 guards with Zach Powers Johnson and Bill Farm. I do think that they have the right 5 right there. So I'm curious to see how they manage that. Because do you put JPG at center and you move Jordan back? You switch Jordan on the left side, then put Dylan on the right. How do you manage those things? Do you, or even like now, do you take a bigger look at Caleb Rogers as well? Another guard who shows the promise in training camp. I don't know, but it's going to be very interesting to see how they manage their best 5 offensive linemen and where do you line them up at, because it's very tricky to figure out what is going to be that right formula that's going to propel things.
Levi Edwards is our guest. I spoke to head coach Pete Carroll this morning about Maxx Crosby and the start that he's having. If you're paying attention to the entire game, and especially the end of the game, the way that Max finished against the Washington Commanders, it was amazing. The motor never shuts down. He's getting close. He's blowing up. He's a game wrecker. We know that. And I'm looking for a Maxx Crosby inspirational game against the Bears. He's always inspiring, but he needs someone else to be inspiring with him. So I think if Max gets an early sack and Caleb runs into him, or Max chases him down and blows him up, I think someone on that defensive line is going to look at Max and say, wow, okay, it's the first quarter. Max has done that already, maybe twice. I'm going to show up and have a big game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it comes down to. That you look deep the line, you're always going to be wanting to sport guy. But when it's a rush plan, you need to have 4 or 5 guys who are going to be able to step up when the men called upon. You can't expect for a guy like Maxx Crosby or Miles Garrett or TJ Watt to just come out and be able to explode line of scrimmage every play, because that's what, when you're a premier player in this league, you're going to get a lot of looks, you're going to get a lot of chips, you're going to get a lot of double teams. That's just what happens. And so we need to see Maxx Crosby continue to perform at an elite level, but he's going to continue to get attention. So it's really going to be on those other guys like your Adam Butler and your Malcolm Coons and your Tyree Wilson to continue to step up your promise hunters. They really need to have a really big game and come out with the same amount of urgency as Maxx Crosby, because you know the kind of attention Maxx Crosby is going to get on that line. And I'm even going to throw Jamal Adams in here, because I've seen him lifting that linebacker as well, coming off the line of scrimmage, and he can play these backers and after Caleb Williams as well. And yes, we're going to look at Maxx Crosby because he's making consistent. He's the guy that has put up the numbers year in, year out at this point. But the rest of the defensive line really has to come. So allow us to Max to do some things, but just for the sake of being able to get after the quarterback.
All right, last one. This is a big one. We both don't predict wins and losses. We both work for the team. They got to win this game. 1-3 is really not what anybody wants. It's going to be tough sledding. The Chargers are going to run away and hide with this division the way they're looking. They look really good. 2-2, I think, stabilizes everything with an opportunity to play the Colts in Tennessee back-to-back. Levi, what is the key to winning this game? I'm talking a barroom back alley brawl to do something and just get out of there with a win. I don't care how ugly it is, how pretty it is, because I'm not expecting a pretty game out of the Raiders. They haven't showed me any indication that they're going to go out and just click their and snap their fingers, but that's what Chicago did. Chicago looked so pedestrian and average, and then they went out there and had this gorgeous game against the Cowboys, flea flickers, bombs, everybody playing great, interceptions in the end zone. If the Raiders can't do that, how do they scratch out a win?
I think when it comes down to it, you have to smell blood in the water. When it comes to that, I just mean that Bears right now, their defense is really banged up. They have a lot of issues with that in terms of giving up a lot of yards, giving up a lot of points in their first two games, even though they got things together and rolling in that last game against the Cowboys. Here's the Raiders defense. You allowed 70 rushing yards a game in your first two games. You allowed less than 20 points those first two games before things went off the rails and the Commanders. It's time to lock in after Caleb Williams, but also the defense, what they are with the Commanders. Gino Smith has to lock in, and that offense has to lock in. Chip Kelly has to lock in. They really have to smell the blood in the water, and they really have to get to that defense point in the board. There's been times where we've seen Gino Smith play amazing and really be able to get after it. You have that Chargers game where he was trying to force some things in prime time, and we need to see Raiders offense really maximize on what we all thought they could be coming out of training camp. But then definitely that includes getting everyone involved. That includes a much better plan in terms of trying to block and get to the open lanes and keep Geno Smith upright in the pocket. These are things that you just have to be able to do against a defense like the Chicago Bears that's struggling as much as they are. And, I don't think it's going to be a very sexy win either. I think it's going to be a really slimy, grinded out kind of win because that's, like you said, what's been indicated. But they have to win this game. They have to go 2-2, especially going up against a Colts team that's rolling right now. And you're going into Indy as well. So I think it is very possible. Just watching the Bears, you have to get out to Caleb Williams, obviously. But I do think that they have a great shot.
Thank you, Levi. We'll see you in the building. I'll see you there the rest of the week. Always appreciate your insight.
Thank you so much, JT. I appreciate it.
You got it. That was brought to you by the local 872 laborers led by Tommy White, building the city on time and on budget. We would not have fabulous Las Vegas if we didn't have the local 872. Man, when they put shovels in the ground, when they build out something, when they're building a project in town, the way they come together is fascinating to see, led by Tommy White. We thank the 872 for their proud service and what they do in this town, and thank them for their partnership here on the show. Thanks to the bricklayers, everybody there who joins us on YouTube, JT the Brick on YouTube. Easy to subscribe for free. I got the new Rod Woodson podcast. I'd like everybody there to please download it. It's called Lay in the Wood. I'll do that tomorrow with Rod Woodson, one of the greatest players of all time. And he just called the Ravens game where they lost. So he'll be a little bit salty tomorrow, and we'll go through all of this. I'm going to ask Rod about the Raiders O-line and what the hell's going on and how do they change it up. Rod was a former coach for the Raiders. So that will be recorded tomorrow and available for everybody there. When we come back, open phones, like they say in the radio. A lot of national shows don't say that. There's some that don't take calls. Some of those big boys, they think they got the big shows in the studio on the big lots. They don't take calls. They don't want to hear from anybody. They don't want to be exposed. You're not going to expose me. I want to hear your opinion on how the Raiders win the game. Let's go. How do the Raiders win this game? 702-365-9200. JT the Brick, excited to be with you.
All right.
Very good. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Please subscribe. Please hit like. Please subscribe. Please hit like. Thank you. Thank you, Snow Raider. Thanks to everybody here. Thanks to everybody. I mean that. Appreciate it. Thank you.